Well, good afternoon and welcome to another video with a guy and his projects. Today is a random Saturday afternoon and we're going to try and get some stuff done on the toy Jeep. This is a 1994 Jeep Grand Cherokee ZJ. It's got the inline six and we've got some transmission leaks. So right now where the transmission cooler lines meet the radiator, those are leaking out pretty good right now, and it's getting all over my garage, all over the driveway. And the radiator in it is the typical aluminum with the plastic tanks on the side crimped together, which are inherently leaky. They all leak at some point or another. So we're gonna fix both those issues today, hopefully, crossing our fingers. But the real fun is the radiator. So this radiator is an upgrade. It's quite the upgrade. All this is bought on Amazon and I will link them in the description below. Get a package out of here. This is the main attraction for this video today. This is a KKS Motorsports radiator, and it is an all aluminum radiator. So not only is this all aluminum, so you've got the aluminum tanks on the side, it's all welded together. This is a 3-row aluminum radiator. What that means, I believe, is there's 3 different rows going in here side by side, all the way down, which theoretically gives you a lot more cooling capability because you get a lot more surface area for the fluid to be cooled off on. Supposedly, this is going to drop right in. We're going to find that out here real quick, hopefully. So that's going in. It does come with the fittings, so hopefully these fit all right, and we'll do exactly what we need. In any case, we're going to find out real quick. This is how you replace the radiator on this vehicle. This is how I'm going to replace the radiator on this vehicle. So remember, everything linked down below. Leave a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and let's get to it. All right, so the very first thing we're gonna do is get underneath. Ooh, concrete's cold. And we need to drain the radiator. You probably can't see this, but there's a petcock right here, a valve, whatever you want to call it. We're just going to unscrew it. All the way. There it goes. All right, so that's the valve is out, and we're just gonna let this start draining. It's gonna take a minute. Now we're gonna pop the hood. And get that open. All right, so important to note, if you just pull that down, you're going to be waiting for a long time because it's gonna create its own little vacuum. So we're gonna go ahead and open up the system with the radiator cap. And now we can see this leaking way over here for some reason. All right, there we go, that's fine. So now, now that we took that radiator cap off, it's peeing way out there. Just be aware you're gonna have to catch that. I missed it. Wow, it's making a big old freaking mess here. There we go. All right, we're just gonna let that drain out. I'll get back to you guys. All right, so there's some things that I know are gonna have to come out just because there's no way to get this out without them. So like this overflow tube hose, this is gonna have to come off. It just slides off, easy peasy. We're just gonna stick it over here, out of the way. The upper radiator hose obviously has to come off. So let's grab a screwdriver. And we're gonna go ahead and take that off. Oh, okay. Slide that back out of the way. So then we can go ahead and, okay. This fan shroud is all one piece, which is kind of a bummer because it makes it really hard to get out unless you take the fan out as well. So I think we are going to need to, well, we might not actually need to take the fan or the shroud out. We might be able to just unbolt the shroud, move it that way. Let's try that first and see how it goes. Hopefully you guys got a view of everything you need a view of. Just gotta unbolt this tent. Put it on the loosen setting might help. slide this out of the way over here. And there's not much room to slide this out of the way. I think we're going to just go ahead and take off the fan just for extra room. So in order to get this fan off, those look like 12mm bolts. That's gotta be 12. Where's my speed wrench 12? Is it a 12? We don't know. Shoot, maybe it's a 13. Just probably can't even see that, but I'll try. So all I'm doing is I have one 13mm wrench I'm putting on one of these, and then I'm using my other 13mm wrench to bust the other ones loose. You guys can't see because it'll be in the way, but that's all I'm doing to get all four out. Alright, so now we have the fan shroud unbolted and the fan unbolted. So we're just going to pop the fan out, move this thing forward, wiggle it out together here. There we go. So that gives us way more room to work. There's our radiator. That's where we just took the fan off of the clutch. We have transmission line 1, transmission line 2 down there. We already took off our upper radiator hose and our lower radiator hose is down there, so we'll probably do that next. And then we'll get the transmission lines, and then this should just about be ready to pull out already. Sure is shooting. Yeah. So the next thing we want to do is get the radiator unbolted and loose, ready to pull out. We'll pull off the transmission lines and put the new radiator in, and then we'll replace the transmission lines. I want to do the transmission lines last, just because I don't know how much fluid we're going to lose, and I don't really have a lot to put back in. In fact, I don't have any, I don't think. So we're going to be as quick as we can with the transmission part. So let's go ahead and unbolt the radiator now. In order to unbolt the radiator, I don't know how much has to come out. I'm going to assume this bolt and this bolt absolutely have to, and then I don't know, maybe the radiator will kind of fall forward. I don't know, but we're going to find out. So let's do that after I see who ticks me. So with you guys up there with no idea what you can see, I'm going to pop this one, and this is attached to the grill somewhere. All right, so I think the radiator will come. If you come down here to the bottom of your grill, I got 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts down here. I'm going to undo those and see if that will allow the grill and everything to go up. You don't need to see that because there's nowhere to perch you guys, so let me just take those out and I'll be back. We do have this here. I'd like to think this is now... Okay, there's something stuck to the radiator right here. There it goes. Okay. So we can now pull this out of the way. We're just going to actually lay it down over here, because it's got the hood release lever attached to it. And the condenser is attached to the radiator. How nice. So the reason I think you can't get the radiator out without that is the condenser is attached right here and right here. And hopefully that's it to the radiator. That's all I see. So let me get those undone. I'll turn you guys off. You don't need to see that. Okay, so I'm just going to peel it apart. Yep, there she goes. Okay, so the radiator is loose and ready to be removed as soon as we get these transmission lines off. So I guess we'll do that next. Tighten it first because you don't know which way is loosey lefty, loosey, and then flip her around and give her a loosen. So the upper transmission line is loose right there. Let's just put this up here so hopefully it doesn't leak. Now we gotta do the same thing on the bottom. Be ready to come out now. Okay. Gold in. And we're just gonna make a big old mess on the ground apparently. Yep, big old mess. Try and drain the rest of the fluid. Alright, good enough. All right, let me clean up that mess real quick and we'll move on. All right, while we wait for the floor to dry so we can get to the other side of the transmission hoses, we're gonna go ahead and mount the new radiator in place because we don't need everything else done to do that. So let's go ahead and do that. It'll work. Theoretically, yes, that's one unit, comes right off, that's good. Man, this is a lot heavier duty. Okay, this thing's nice and bright and shiny. Oh wait, actually, you know what? I think these gotta come off on the bottom. Just gotta get it around the power steering. Uh-oh. There it goes. Okay. So made it around the power steering. Now we just gotta get the bottom pegs to fall into place. All right, so now we've got all this stuff lined up, so I can put the bolt in there, and then we'll squeeze this together, bolt will go in there. So we just got this tray back in place. Everything lines up good. I had some issues getting the condenser mounted to the radiator, but we're all happy hunky-dory now. So we're gonna go ahead and bolt all this stuff in and continue moving on. Okay, so now we're putting our little transmission fittings in, and you're gonna have to take these blue protectors out. And I'm just going to thread these in. I did put a little Teflon. I don't know if you should or shouldn't. That's just what I did. That goes there. And I put this one down here. So this radiator does have a little clearance issue with the power steering. We're pretty much touching. It's kind of leaning on it. And as it vibrates, it's going to rub on it. So I'm going to get a little piece of rubber and some glue. And I'll glue the rubber or something to the radiator. Epoxy or something. And that should insulate that from there. It's still going to rub, but at least there'll be an insulator there. This bottom fitting right here, barely clears the pump. On the stock radiator, it's down lower. I don't think this is going to cause an issue because we do clear it. It's just barely, just something to keep note of. But yeah, everything fits. It's just tight. But it is fitting, so we're going to go ahead and snug those down, and then I'm going to chase the transmission lines and do those. All right, so it's been a couple days. I have a bad habit of when something's not going right and I start to get frustrated, I shut off the camera because I just don't want to add to my own frustration by having the camera in my way. So I need to stop that. I need to fix that because that's actually where things get interesting. But in my mind, I'm just like, I just need to get it done. So what ended up happening is that super fancy, awesome 3-row all aluminum radiator, they drilled the lower transmission. Wow, I just totally lost my thought process. The lower transmission hose for the cooler, they mounted the threaded insert portion up way too high. I noticed that when I was looking at the differences between the two, but I didn't perceive it could be a problem. But when you come in here into the engine bay, it essentially, it's dark down there. Well, here is your power steering gearbox, and once you put the radiator in here, it comes all the way to the power steering. In fact, it was resting on it. It was too wide, and that mount was just barely cleared under, and it didn't clear. You couldn't get a wrench on the fitting, which also means it would vibrate against it. So with that, I couldn't use it. In addition, the upper transmission threaded insert portion was threaded crooked. It wasn't straight in, so when I was trying to spin in the nipple, it was very, very crooked. So I sent that back. There wasn't hardly any reviews on Amazon on that radiator. There was one review that said awesome, fantastic, fit perfect, and there was another review that said exactly the same situation I had with that lower portion being mounted too high. So instead of doing an exchange, I did a return, and we're gonna go with, instead, we're gonna put in this Mishimoto radiator, which, as you can see, the bottom portion for the radiator is way lower. The other one was like up here. So I don't think this is a bad radiator. I don't think it's bad at all. It's just not what I wanted. I really don't like the plastic tanks, but millions and millions and millions of vehicles have them, and for the most part, they're very successful. So keeping that in mind, that's what we're going to throw in here for now. And the other thing I want to do is replace these stupid transmission line ends, this one and then this one. I know this one is hard piped. I'm not sure what I want to do about it. I think I might just get rid of, this one's actually not leaking right now, so we'll probably leave this one because I want to get this done. I have some other stuff to do today, but this one we're definitely going to cut off. Probably going to cut it off all the way back there at the last metal portion, and then just flex it up with I went to O'Reilly's yesterday. This is what comes with the radiator, and I got some 3/8 transmission line, and we'll probably just flex it on up there. So that's the plan. Not really sure how I'm going to conquer that. Just going to take it as it goes. Going to jump in there and see what happens, and hopefully we can get this thing on the road today, because I'd really like to get it out of here so I can get the trailer in and do some welding on it. So yeah, let's see what happens. All right, so now we are going to take this line, this is the lower one, and we're going to cut it off, reflare it, and ideally that'll work. We'll grab the crappiest pipe cutter I have, because that makes a lot of sense. I should have used the nicer one, holy crap. It was boring. There it goes. All right, so now we're gonna grab some super fine sandpaper. I actually don't know what grit this is, so no, oh well. Just gonna clean it off a little bit. All right, now we're gonna grab the swedge kit, is what I think it's called. See if we can't make some magic happen in these tight corners. So all we're gonna try to do here is just swedge this end open. There we go, now we're getting somewhere. Just wanna expand the end just a little bit, just to give the new hose something to sit on to keep it from pulling off. So now we gotta get this radiator in. Let's hope that radiator number 2 lines up everywhere, unlike radiator number 1. Already fitting better. Look at that. It's not touching the gearbox. Both holes fit in. Anyway, the main thing I wanted to do right now is just measure out this transmission line. Alright, so now we can go ahead and get our upper radiator hose put back in its place for now. That seems really loose. It's comforting. Not. 8mm again. I will say these nipples on this radiator feel really small. Maybe. Alright, so we're going to take our upper transmission line and we're going to go ahead and marry it here. Make sure it's decently tight. Now we need to go ahead and fit that lower transmission line. All I want to do is just take this, put it in place, cut it, and slip it on that nipple, and we will then just hope for the best. I guess we can put our lower rate. Oh no! It's the problem with wearing long sleeves. Get this up in here, out of the way, so that stops happening. so that should hopefully stop that. All right, so this, you just want to come calmly along. Right there. So we're gonna cut this right here for now and see how it goes. All right, now the fun part, putting the fan back in. Yep. Yeah, nope. Gotta go on the same time. So now we get a juggle. Okay, so now put our retaining nuts in here for the fan shroud. All right, now we've got our overflow hose over here. Just gonna shove that in place. Actually, as loose as that is, I think we're gonna cut that off. Cut that off, start with a fresh dot. Got a little more tension on it. All right. Fan spins with nothing obstructed. We can go ahead and clip this transmission line into these stupid little plastic things. Keep it from twisting somewhere where it shouldn't. There's that one.